Hello students and welcome to the lecture. So students, as we know that we are covering the National Disaster Management Authority. Okay. This is the topic on which we have been discussing. All right. And within this topic, these all are the topics that we have scheduled for the discussion. Okay. Like starting with the definition of disaster. Thereafter, the disaster happened over time. Thereafter, the causes of a disaster. Thereafter, the impacts of a disaster. Thereafter, the elements of disaster management in India. Thereafter, the establishment of the NDMA. Thereafter, the objectives of the NDMA. Thereafter, the functions of the NDMA. Thereafter, the additional functions of the NDMA. Thereafter, the State Disaster Management Authority. Thereafter, the District Disaster Management Authority. Okay. So this is the picture that we have created so far altogether. All right. If we talk about the topics that we have covered so far, so basically these topics are definition part, disaster happened over time, causes of a disaster, impact of a disaster, elements of a disaster management in India. Okay. These 5 topics out of 11 topics are those topics that we have covered. If we talk about the topics that we are left with, then this is the establishment of the NDMA, the objectives of the NDMA, functions of the NDMA, the additional functions of the NDMA, the State Disaster Management Authority, District Disaster Management Authority. Okay. So these are the topics that we are required to cover. Okay. So this is the picture that we have created so far altogether. Basically, so far we have done with the elements of the disaster management strategies in India. Now I'm going to ask you the question like, what is the name of these elements? Okay. So basically, there are 4 main events. Like risk reduction. Okay. Thereafter, the risk mitigation. Thereafter, the quick response. Thereafter, the recovery. Okay. So these are the 4 elements that formulates the integral part of the India's risk management practice or strategies. Okay. So far basically here we have done with the disaster definition, disaster happened over time, causes of disaster, impacts of disaster, element of the disaster management in India. Okay. Now basically we are going to start the discussion over the National Disaster Management Authority. Okay. And as we know, that is the organization or an authority which is managing the disaster. It is doing it at national level. Okay. That is the first thing that we have discussed before starting this lecture or before starting the series also. Okay. So let us start from where we have left. So basically, now we are going to talk about the NDMA, the National Disaster Management Authority, and why it is important. And we will start with this, with the First, more basic thing, that is the establishment of the NDMA. Like if we want to know about the NDMA in a true sense, then we should start it with the establishment. Why, when, and how it was established. Okay, so let us start. Okay, so the government of India basically recognizing the importance of disaster management as a national priority. Okay, like basically disasters that happen in the country, they should be managed as the national priority. It means that entire nation should be responsible for managing them. Okay, and after recognizing the need of managing the disasters and their impacts at the national priority, basically the government has set up the high powered committee. High powered means like various powers have been granted to them so that they could give us the valuable solutions which we have expected from them. And the year when it was elected, that was the year of 1999. Okay, now I'm going to ask you a simple question. The year of 1999 is also very famous for which particular event? Okay, in the year of 1999, Kargil war was happened between India and the Pakistan. Okay, that's why this year is also very, very important. Okay, so now come back to our topic of the establishment of the National Disaster Management Authority. Like Government of India first recognized the importance of managing the disaster as the national priority, and in order to this, basically they set up the high powered committee in the 1999 and a national committee in 2001. So basically there are two committees appointed with the gap of 1 year. Like first committee, HPC, High Powered Committee, was appointed in 1999. Thereafter, the National Committee was appointed in 2001. And 2001 is also the year when India experienced its most devastated earthquake that was occurred in the state of Gujarat. Okay, in Gujarat there was earthquake in 2001 that claimed the life of nearly about 13,000 to 20,000 people. Okay, in the northern Gujarat as well as the southern Rajasthan. Okay, and these committees were required to make the recommendations on the preparation of the disaster management plans, like how we could prepare the plans so that we could manage the disaster effectively and efficiently. And basically, apart from the management, mitigation mechanism was also given to them. Okay, like management means like when the disaster is happening, how you are managing it. Okay, how you are rescuing the people, how you are evacuating the people, all right, how you are evaluating the damage and all. These all are the managing. Mitigation means how we could reduce the impact of the disaster on the communities, on the economy, and the nation as well. All right. So basically, these two primary tasks were given to these committees, like the High Power Committee and the National Committee. Okay. Thereafter, another thing happened in the 2004. Like, however, after the Indian Ocean tsunami of 2004, okay, it is one of the most devastated tsunami ever recorded in India. Government of India took a defining step in the legislative history of the country. In the legislative history of the country by enacting the Disaster Management Act 2005. Okay, so here you can say basically at first the government was just recognizing the importance of disaster management because of several disaster events that occurred in India. But because of the earthquake event in 2001 and the tsunami event of 2004, the government found it the most important thing to establish the mechanism so that the disaster could be managed, its impact could be minimized, or to fulfill this, defining step had been taken in the 2005 that the legislative history witnessed a remarkable day when the Disaster Management Act 2005 came into the picture. Okay, please remember the name and the year. That is important. Okay. So what about this act? The act provided for the creation of NDMA. So the question asked in the examination, like through which act the NDMA was set up? So the answer should be Disaster Management Act. The second type of question that could be asked in the examination is that in which year the National Disaster Management Authority came into the existence? So the answer should be year of 2005. Okay. So it was to superhead and implement the holistic and integrated approach to disaster management in the country. Holistic means like whatsoever strategy the NDMA will make to manage the disaster. This particular strategy should include each and every possible, you can say, aspects of managing the disaster and occurrence of the disaster. Okay. Integrated means like basically all the stakeholders should be integrated with each other, should be in cross coordination and the combined coordination with each other so that the things could be managed properly. All right. So you can say initially the NDMA was constituted in the 2005 by an executive order of the Government of India. Okay. Like the Government of India provides a executive order and initially established the NDMA, the National Disaster Management Authority. But subsequently, after this, the NDMA was notified in the Gazette of India in the 2006 by the provisions of the Act. Okay. So here you can say one thing that basically NDMA was established in different year and was notified in the different year. How it is possible? Like, however, the Disaster Management Act was passed in the year of 2005. But the NDMA was constituted in 2005, not recognized in 2005. That is the main thing. Okay. So if it was not notified in the Gazette of India, then how it could be established? So basically on that time, the executive orders were the one that established the NDMA. So it got established because of the executive orders. All right. Thereafter, after the establishment, basically it got notified in the year of 2006. Notified in the year of 2006. So that's why, as I have told you, it was established in the different year, but got notified in the Gazette of India in the different year. Remember this thing. So if we talk about it, if we talk about the NDMA, then we can say the NDMA consists of the chairperson and other members not exceeding the 9. What did we get from here? Like we can say it is an authority. Okay. So if it's an authority, if it's an organization, the first thing that is clear in our mind is that it is not a single person body or a single member body, because it is not possible for the single member to manage the disaster at the national level. It is quite impossible. Okay. So it is not a single member body. Then it is the multi-member body. That is also become clear in our mind. If it is the multi-member body, like how many members should be there? What is the minimum and maximum strength? Okay. So basically there is no provision regarding the minimum strength of the NDMA. Okay. There is no provision regarding the minimum strength of the NDMA, but the maximum strength is decided already. And which is the maximum strength? The maximum strength is not exceeding the number of 9. Okay. Like the National Disaster Management Authority is the multi-member body which could have up to 9 members at a time. And who will be the chairman? Who will be the chairman? The Prime Minister. Prime Minister will be the ex officio chairperson of the NDMA. Okay. Now here, because we are talking about the competitive exams topics. So I have already told you about the ex officio members. Okay, like what is the difference between the normal member and the ex officio member? So now you are required to tell me the difference that I have already told you. Okay, so basically the normal member, the normal person is the person who having the both the rights to sit and speak and also to vote. Okay, ex officio person or the ex officio member is the member who is having the right of sitting and speaking but do not have the right of voting. Okay, like the ex officio person could not vote in the you can say decision of the topics. He could only speak and he could only sit in the discussion. Okay, so Prime Minister is the ex officio chairperson of the NDMA. It means that he could speak and he could sit, but he could not vote. All right, that is the first thing. After this, the other members who are the part of the NDMA, they are not elected, but they are nominated. Who nominated them? The chairperson of the NDMA. And who is the chairperson? The chairperson is the Prime Minister. So Prime Minister is the one who will nominate it. Okay. The chairperson of the NDMA designates one of the members as the vice chairperson of the NDMA. Okay. Like he is not only nominated the other members, but also he is required to elect the one members on the position of vice chairperson of the NDMA. Okay, so the chairperson is also interested with the functions of electing the vice chairperson of the NDMA. If we talk about the vice chairperson, like we have talked about the qualification of the chairperson, like the chairperson should be of the Prime Minister. All right, then what is the qualification for the vice chairperson? So remember, the vice chairperson has the status of the cabinet minister. Okay, while the other members having a status of a minister of state. Okay, so this is the thing, and the NDMA is basically an apex body to maintain or to manage the disaster in the country. Apex body means like no other organization is above the NDMA. All right, so just conclude it further in a shorter way. Okay, so basically in 1999, the high powered committee was appointed. In 2001, the earthquake impacted the state of Gujarat in a devastating manner. Then the national committee was appointed. Thereafter, the government, while recognizing the need of the managing the disaster at the national priority, basically in 2004, the tsunami hit the India badly. Then finally in the 2005, the government prepared the Disaster Management Act, okay, and passed it. As per the act, the government issued the executive orders and led to the establishment of NDMA, the National Disaster Management Authority. But when the NDMA was established, the NDMA was not notified in the Gazette of India. Okay, in the next year of 2006, basically it got notified in the Gazette of India. Okay, thereafter we have talked about the composition of the NDMA. Like NDMA is not a single person body, it is a multi-member body. Okay, it consists the chairman and the other members. There is no minimum limit of the members, but yes, there is a maximum limit of the members, like up to 9 members. Okay, thereafter we have discussed like the chairperson of the of the authority would be the Prime Minister of India. Whosoever would be the Prime Minister will automatically the chairperson of the National Disaster Management Authority. But ex officio, what does it mean? Ex officio means the chairperson is having the right to sit, speak and participate in the discussion, but he or she is not entitled to vote. Okay, they could not vote. All right, thereafter we have discussed that other members who are the part of the NDMA, these members are basically nominated by whom? These members are nominated by the chairperson of the NDMA. Okay, it means the Prime Minister nominates the other members. Not only the other members, but also the chairperson, who is the Prime Minister of India, is required to appoint someone from the appointed members as the vice chairperson of the NDMA. Okay, who will act as a chairperson in absence of the Prime Minister. The vice chairperson is having the status of the cabinet minister, while the other members having the status of the Minister of State. The NDMA is the apex body for disaster management in the country. No body, no organization is above the NDMA in order to managing the disaster. Okay, that is all what we have discussed. So students, basically in this lecture we have discussed till here. In the next lecture, we will continue from here. Till then, just revise the facts and figures that all we have discussed in this lecture. Be ready for the other lecture. With this note, let's end this lecture and thank you.